Hi, I'm Stephanie, and this is Texas Peach Knits. Thank you for joining me today for Texas Peach Knits. I am here for my very beginning of October episode. Today is actually September the 29th. And I have not shown you my knitting in a while, so I am really excited to be here showing knitting projects today. I have 4 finished objects. I have 4, maybe 5 works in progress. I have some acquisitions from the DFW Fiber Fest and more to show you today. So let's get started. So the first finished object I have to show you today, I did show on my spinning episode. So thank you if you watched that episode and commented. I received very just wonderful comments from everyone about spinning, either being interested in spinning or at least liking hearing more about spinning. So I will likely do another spinning specific episode in the future. The finished object that I showed was my Lilacs and Marigolds shawl, and I'm showing it again because I soaked and blocked it, which opened it up delightfully. So if you watch that episode, you will see it is still quite not very drapey, and now it has a really nice open drape to it, and it is extremely long. So this is going to be this is going to be a delightful scarf to wear throughout the late fall and winter months here in Texas, and I just love how it turned out. This is all my own hand spun yarn, and I've already talked about it a lot in previous episodes, so I will be sure to put all of the information about it in the description box below. My next finished object is the Hamra sweater, and I will also have all the pattern information below. I purchased the pattern off of Ravelry a very long time ago because I began this project for one of my daughters and then ended up setting it aside, and I took it back out this year to finish for my niece. So this is the Hamra sweater, and most of the projects show these stripes in a solid second color. I had scraps left over from my baby blanket, so I decided to use the scraps. And these stripes are just reverse stockinette, so it makes them pop out very nicely. And I raided my button box where I have quite a lot of random buttons, and I was able to find a rainbow of buttons to go with this sweater. So this is for my niece who is in kindergarten this year, and I took it over to a friend's house who has a similarly sized daughter this morning so that I could try it on her and take a few pictures, and this will be going in the mail to my niece. So very happy with how this turned out. I did my own thing on the wrists. This is something I heard that Amie of Noble Character Crafts does, where she does a rapid decrease instead of doing many decreases on the arm, and then I did a garter stitch border on the sleeve, and it just makes a really nice little feminine balloon sleeve, which I really like, and it looks cute on. So this is the Hamra sweater. It is a great way to use up little bits of leftover yarn You could also use a partial skein for the stripes, or a special skein, and then do the rest of the sweater in a less expensive yarn. But this is all Knit Picks Brava Sport, which is what the baby blanket was out of, and it's a really great yarn for children's garments, I find. So it washes up really nice. So, and I use it interchangeably with a DK. I feel like it works as a DK as well. So, and I think this sweater might be a DK project. I'm not really sure. But I do know that I use the Brava Sport interchangeably as a DK. So very happy with how that one turned out, and it will be going in the mail very soon. My next finished object is my 14-year-old daughter's Opal Van Gogh socks. So they are all done. I decided to do a shorter cuff on them. So this is just a 64 stitch vanilla sock with a slip stitch heel. And she wears a size 10 shoe, so I knit them to fit her. But 64 stitches fits her well. And she did not want them to match. So even though I started the first sock intending to make them match, I ended up just continuing the next sock wherever the first one left off. And I like that I was able to do that because now I have a good sized ball left over that I can make another pair of shorty socks or socks with different heels, toes, and cuffs out of the same yarn. So it's always fun to get to use your sock yarn for two pairs of socks rather than just one. It makes it feel like you're getting a really good deal, which Opal yarn is an awesome deal. I bought this from Anna Knitter from her shop. I don't remember which Van Gogh this is because I lost the tag, but I know it is not Starry Night, but it's one that looks like Starry Night. So my daughter is very happy with these, and she wanted me to show them quick so that she can get them on her feet. Lastly, finished object. This is one I teased on my Instagram. It is a hat. And this hat design I found out about because I was watching back episodes of Happy Little Yarn, or A Happy Little Yarn. But Amie is that knitter, and she is from Georgia, and she has red hair. So I'm like, we're like sisters. So I have to watch all your back episodes. And in one of her episodes, she mentioned a hat she had designed, and I saw the pattern was not currently available, so I messaged her, and she was very, very kind, sent me the pattern, and I have plans to make many, many of these hats, and I think that I influenced her a little bit because I think she's now editing the pattern so she can put it back out. So look for that, and I will be sure to tell you when it is available, but let me show you this hat. So this is a double brim. The pattern is for a worsted weight hat, but so it's all stockinette, and the brim is folded over double. Now I made a few changes because I like to do that, and you can see where the fold over is picked up. I really wanted to use fingering weight held double because I have several skeins of 100% wool fingering weight that are super soft and lovely and beautiful, and I can't make socks out of them. And they didn't really inspire me to put them into shawls, and they were single skeins, so they've just been sitting on my shelf. Well, this is going to be for my police officer friend. This is a Malabrigo sock yarn, and it is fingering weight held double. I knit this one on size 7 needles, and I just love how fingering weight held double kind of blurs all the colors. I feel like you could use a very highly variegated fingering weight yarn and you would still end up with a beautiful, not as pooly, but more kind of blurred finished product. So I definitely have plans to make more of these hats. Now, this is kind of my alternative. When I saw it first, I thought this is a great alternative to the muscle burrow hat. And even though I think that hat is beautiful and I love seeing them knit up, I am just not really interested in knitting that much fingering weight in the round. So this gets you almost the same idea. It's a double weight, a fingering weight in most of the hat, and then it's, you know, it's 4 strands. It's so squishy and thick in the brim where it goes over your ears, and it goes so fast. So this is now my favorite alternative to the muscle burrow hat, and I think I'm going to knit one out of worsted weight too and see how that goes. I also want to play with putting color work on the brim, because since it's folded over, any floats you have will be hidden inside the brim. So I'm just warning you, you're going to see a lot more of these hats. And Amie, thank you so much. You were so kind to share the pattern with me, and I'm gonna make them all. I'm gonna make tons of these. So this is Malabrigo sock yarn, and I don't remember the colorway. If I figure out the colorway, I'll put it in the show notes. I have a tendency to lose my ball bands, but it's this lovely gray and blue, and I will be gifting this to my youngest son's godfather, who is a police officer, and he also goes like primitive camping a lot, so I thought he could really use a snug beanie that would be really warm, and I wanted it to be wool, so this is perfect for him. So that is my fitted beanie by Amie of Happy Little Yarn. So I've actually already started another one, so you're going to see it again. So those were all of my knitted finished objects up until now, and now we're going to talk about works in progress. I have been stuffing all of my works in progress into this little tote bag that, well, I found it because we were talking about project bags in my fancy reading needlecraft club, which is just, it's just been delightful. So stay tuned for our next round of that if you want to get in. But we were talking about project bags, and Susan of Delightful Works made a beautiful project bag just for our group. And you all know that I'm frugal, and I couldn't rationalize buying another project bag right now, but I dug this one up out of the back of my yarn cabinet, and a friend of mine, her mother, sewed this for me probably 13 years ago. So I'm using this. I've been stuffing all the projects into it, but I thought it looked beautiful and vintagey to go with our fancy reading club. So let me show you what projects I've been working on. The first one I'll show you is another one of the Happy Little Yarn Amie fitted beanies. This one I opted to do a stripe on the fold over brim. So as you can see, I've already folded over and picked up my stitches to finish the hat. this is for my husband David, who had a lot of fun being on the Q&A episode, and he really liked hearing everyone's comments about how much you liked him. But this is his school, one of his school colors. So he really likes this really bright green. And this stripe is Dream in Color Classy, I think. It's the one with cashmere in it. And I bought it as a mini when I was visiting my sister in Tucson because I think it's Birdhouse Knits, the yarn store in downtown Tucson, or one of the yarn stores carries a bunch of Dream in Color minis. So I knew I was going to use this other yarn for him, and I wanted a darker green to complement it. So that is what I bought there. I don't remember the color, but if I find the tag, this is going to be the story of this episode. If I find the information, I will let you know. I do know, however, what the delightful main color is. This is a bright citrus green, kind of leans a little to the yellow, and a cream color. So in order to knit these hats double, I split the skein of yarn into 2 balls of the same size. And this yarn is Socks That Rock Silky. So it's 81% superwash merino, 19% silk. And so that's why it could not be socks, at least not socks for us. And this is the colorway Flash. And this was just a lovely gift from Michelle in Houston, who sent me a big box of yarn when I first started podcasting. So I'm just now starting to get into her yarn that she sent me, which have been wonderful to work with because there's some things I never would have gotten for myself. So just thank you so much. But my husband specifically wanted this one, and he saw the green and he had to have it. And so it's going to have the stripe, and then I just have to finish the top and make sure it fits him. And then he will have a nice warm hat to wear this winter. So that is whip number 1. Whip number 2, I cast on for Anna's Knit Club and Kay, the Crazy Sock Lady's crazy spooky mail, where she was making fall and Halloween yarns. And Anna, for Anna's Knit Club, is doing Harry Potter themed projects. So this sock pattern that I am knitting is the Weasley Homestead. And it is so crimpy. That is because this yarn is from a sock blank. So see how crimpy that is? But it feels so squishy, and the Weasley Homestead pattern is a free pattern on Ravelry. And basically, it's a 2x2 rib that you switch back and forth where the knits and the purls are. So very, very crimpy and funky looking. But doesn't this yarn just say fall, like fall leaves? And when you see the sock blank, you'll see why. So here is the sock blank, and it is from Whip Yarns. And this was also from Michelle in Houston. And when I first saw this, I thought, oh, I need to knit that right away. However, fall was already well on its way out, and I wanted to really enjoy it and not hurry through it. So I saved it for this fall. And it is just so gorgeous. So basically, I'm just unraveling it as I knit, and I'm almost done with the foot of this sock. I'll do the toe, and then I can't decide if I'm in this like yellowish area. I might go ahead and start the next cuff. See how this cuff is mostly yellow? Or I might flip it over and start the cuff up from here, which I don't know if starting from the other end of the sock blank would do anything weird to the knitting, because I know the yarn would be from a different direction. Does that make sense? So let me know if you know about sock blanks and if that would mess up my socks or mess up the knitting or make it weird. I don't know. But so this sock will get finished, and then I will be continuing sock number 2, either straight from here or I'll start it from the other end of the sock blank. I really don't know because I've never used a sock blank before. But so this has been a lot of fun to knit, even though it's still 100 here. We did get some rain, but it's still blazing hot. So October's coming. I have high hopes that October will be cooler. Usually September is hot, so I wouldn't say that this is that much out of character. So the next sock that I'm knitting, because I finished my eldest daughter's Opal socks, is I started my second daughter's Opal socks, and it is this Opal Pretty, which has sparkle. And my 12-year-old daughter chose this because 2 of her favorite colors are this teal color and a peachy orange. So she just really loved it. This is color number 11282 from the Opal Pretty line, also from Anna Knitter. And this is the beginning of her sock. So for her sock, I decided to do a completely 2x2 rib cuff and leg. So just continued. And she wants it about 6 inches long, I think, maybe a little longer. And I'm thinking maybe she'll be able to fold it over. I feel like it would be really cute. And then I'm going to do a plain foot on this, so I won't continue the ribbing on the foot. I've recently seen a few kids socks with ribbed leg, you know, normal heel flap, and then a plain foot, and I think they just look so cute. So her feet are not going to grow anymore, so she's going to be able to wear these socks. At least I don't think they're going to grow anymore. So so she'll be able to wear these socks a long time, and I'm just going to make them the way she likes them and go from there. So you can see her peachy orange and that beautiful teal and all that sparkle. And this is really not scratchy. Like, I thought that the sparkle would be a little bit scratchy, but it's not. It's surprisingly well incorporated, where you really can't tell it's that much different. So very fun. And I keep looking at Anna's new colorways of Opal because I want them all. And I've told myself that I have to knit all the Opal socks that I already bought to make socks for my family. I'm just going through every person. And then I can make another Opal order from Anna Knitter. All right, so my last work in progress is from this book, Country Weekend Knits, and you have heard a lot about this over the past few episodes. I am making the Shetland Shawl from this book. It is the old shell Shetland Shawl, and it is just so gorgeous. And I really hemmed and hawed trying to choose colors from my Knit Picks palette stash for those stripes. So it's on the back too. So I'm doing the edge in this gray, dark gray Handspun. And then I'm doing all the light cream, that's the center of the shawl, in this gray and undyed Polworth Handspun. And this was Malabrigo, whatever the Malabrigo fiber is called. This is what this is, and then an undyed Polworth. And I think the gray colorway that's in both, but this one is just both 2 strands of gray instead of mixed with undyed, is called Plomo. So it's their gray colorway. So in order to try to choose stripes, I put some friends of mine through just like the gamut of like showing them all the options. And I'm sorry if you're one of those people, because I just went back and forth and back and forth. And then I knit this adorable little swatch, which I'm going to keep forever. And so I have the dark gray, and then this dark, almost navy blue Knit Picks palette, a bright coral, and then a gold. And then this is the light gray, trying to see how it looked next to the gold. And then the next choice I was thinking about, this is the dark gray, and it looks a lot like this, but some parts of the dark gray are lighter gray, so it's Handspun. It is what it is. Gold. This was an orange and a light blue. And then the last option was the blue, the coral, and the light blue. So I like all 3 of these, but I still wasn't 100% happy, and I ended up doing something different, of course. So I ended up using the dark blue and then the gold. They're all getting mixed up. Gold, and then a blue I hadn't even shown. This is, here we go, now we can see them. This is like a greeny light blue. So these are the colors I ended up going with. I really loved the coral, but I just wasn't sure I was going to be happy with the coral in this specific shawl. I don't know why. But so these are the 3 colors I ended up going with. I have 2 of these and 2 of these, and I only have 1 of this. But this one has the least amount of rows, so I think it's going to be fine. And let me show you what I have so far. So the way this shawl is knit is you knit 2 sides of the square, just the border. So I did that first. This gray border, you just knit long forever. And this is going to end up being a huge shawl. So this has not been blocked, but it has a lacy scallop. And then you pick up with your first stripe color. And I'm following the stripe pattern in the pattern. So I'm not just mixing them up randomly. So it goes dark blue, another dark gray, dark blue gold, dark blue gold, and then light blue. And let me see if I can pick this whole thing up. So this is two sides of the square, and it is all squished up, as you can see, but it has that Shetland Shaw lace pattern. There, you can see that. And I'm really happy with this. I think, so what I'm envisioning is this is going to be a huge square shawl. It's not superwash, so it's hand wash only. And I mostly envision myself wrapped up in this, reading books or knitting and using it kind of as like a blanket. But I just love it. So you can see how the scallop edge, the color has quite a bit of variety as the color of the fiber and the handspun changed darker and lighter. And I haven't used any of the light yet, but I'm coming to that, and this I have a ton of, and that's why it's going to be that whole big center square panel. So, but after I knit these two sides, I have to knit exactly the same thing a second time, unless I decide to leave it as a triangle, which I'm not going to. I want the whole thing. So this is a very long-term project, and I'm going to keep working on it, and I will show it to you every time I make a good amount of progress. So you probably won't see this again for a while, but I'm trying to pick it up at least once a week and put a few rows in it, and I'm just really enjoying it. I'm not in a hurry. It's not something where I'm like, oh, I just have to finish that for XYZ. No, this is my slow knitting right now, and it is just delightful, and I love it. Yes. So I am looking forward to it being finished so that I can use it, but I'm just loving knitting it. So that is my last work in progress today. Now I'd like to share an exciting upcoming project. And you might be a little shocked to hear that I am going to be participating in Stephen West's Geogradient Shawl Mystery Knit-Along. I am not a huge mystery knit-along person. I have never done the Stephen West Mystery Knit-Along, and I am not even sure if I've ever knit a Stephen West pattern. I may have knit one of his more simple shawls at some point, but I really can't remember. If I did, it was a long time ago. But when this one was announced and I saw his really pretty logo for it and that it was a gradient, I immediately thought of this gradient that I already own. So this is also from the fabulous Michelle in Houston, who is now famous for her generosity. And I had no idea what I was going to do with this. I have never knit a gradient anything before. And as soon as I saw the Geogradient Make-Along, I thought, I need to knit that. And if I end up not liking it, it's okay. I can gift the shawl. I can, there's lots of possibilities. So I'm excited to knit it. I'm excited to learn some new techniques because I know he always throws in some new things. And I'm really looking forward to knitting with a gradient, which I think is really beautiful and fun. Now this this yarn is from Knit Circus Yarns. and it is 100% superwash merino. It is dyed as a gradient set called Peony. So this is number 4. This one is number 3. Number 2. And number 1. So I really couldn't say no to this because never were two things so perfectly put together, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you are knitting the mystery knit along, please let me know in the comments, and I would love to follow you on Instagram because I actually adore spoilers. So I'm ready for the spoilers. I want to see them all because I like to know what I'm knitting. So I know Shauna of Shauna Stitches is doing this make along as well. She's done many of them, and I'm looking forward to seeing hers in her beautiful pink gradient. And so yeah, just let me know if you're gonna play along or not. I just think it's a lot of fun to do group things and to learn new knitting techniques. And so I am just going to have a good time with this one. No pressure to finish it in the time, but I might do that because it might be a lot of fun and I might just go for it. So this is going to be a Geogradient. So I mentioned my fancy reading and needlecraft club, and Holly of Mystery Mouse Knits very wonderfully made a special yarn colorway just for our club to go along with the book. I think anyone can buy it, but we knew about it first. And so we're reading An Old-Fashioned Girl, and this is the beautiful skein of yarn that she dyed. And I have not started knitting mine yet because I want it to marinate in my stash and have me really think about what it wants to be. And like I said, I love spoilers, so all the other ladies who have already started knitting their Old-Fashioned Girl, I've been eyeing their projects, and it really knits up just fabulously. So very excited to knit this. It is 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon. So this is her sock base. And just, man, she is such a talented dyer, and I love her podcast too. She always talks books that she loves to read, and her and I just have so much in common. So she's helping me host the book club, and we are just having such a good time, and I just love this yarn. So this is going to be something special in the future. But because Holly is fabulous, she sent me 2 more skeins of yarn. She really didn't have to, but thank you, Holly. And she sent me this one. So she loves to dye after books and children's books a lot. So this is Little Blue Truck, which was actually one of my son's favorite books. So I really think I want to knit something for my son out of this, my youngest son, and I might knit one of those hats with color work on it and hold this double because this is fingering weight too, or I might make him some really adorable socks. So it's definitely, I'm definitely keeping this one because she said I could keep one of them. But this is it, and it's going to be something adorable for my little boy. And then she sent a skein of yarn for my prize stash, and It was super mean of her, and I don't think she planned this, but she sent me the colorway for one of my favorite books. She sent me Sense and Sensibility. So this is Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility on sock weight. Look at that color. So gorgeous. Oh man. And this one is for the prize bin. So at some point in the future, when I do another giveaway, and maybe it will be next summer's Fluff Your Stash, I will be giving away the Sense and Sensibility yarn, which is going to be so hard to do. And I just have to say, when I bring up Sense and Sensibility, that I adore the Emma Thompson movie of Sense and Sensibility. I know not everyone loves that one, but it's one of my favorite movies. I love it so much, and it's one that I can put on in the background when I'm home alone and working, and I love the music, and I love all the acting and all the actors. And so yeah, Big Meanie sent me the Sense and Sensibility yarn, but I'm going to give it away. I promise. And if I don't give it away, you guys remind me that one does not belong to me and to give it to someone. So anyways, just loving the Mystery Mouse yarn. I will put her Etsy shop below if you want to go check out the other books. Maybe you will find one of your favorite books in her shop. Okay, so the last segment of today's podcast is my DFW Fiber Fest segment. And I went to the DFW Fiber Fest. It was mid-September, and I just went for the market. I just really love seeing all the different vendors, and everyone was just so happy to be there, and some gorgeous yarns and fabulous everything. And it was really hard to choose what I was going to take home, but I managed to find a few things. So the first thing, actually this was the last thing I found. One of the things I found was I'm going to try not to crinkle, a British breed sampler set. And this is set 2. I didn't realize I bought set 2, but I did. And it has 10 1-ounce samples of British sheep to spin. So this is from Honeygold Acres, which is out of Minnesota actually. And she came down for the Fiber Fest. She was just super, super lovely. And she sells these in her Etsy shop as well. So if you've been wanting to spin a sampler of fibers and just try out a bunch of different fibers, I highly, highly recommend. These all just look perfect. She had 2 different British sampler sets. She also had a world sampler set, which had a different sheep from 10 different countries. I had a really hard time choosing, but I ended up going with British because I thought it would be really cozy to spin this in the winter while watching British mini series. So I might have to subscribe to BritBox for 2 months and spin this. And I think what I want to do is go through and spin them all and then knit some kind of table runner out of them to kind of show off all the different breeds of sheep. And then I can put it on, we have a really long coffee table in our living room or on our kitchen table as a center table runner. So I think this is just really fun, and I am excited to spin it. Next up, we visited the Apothecary Fabrications. and she is a yarn and fiber dyer. I don't remember where she's from, but I know it's not Texas. And she sources all of her wool in the United States. So I thought that was really neat to have the United States sourced wool. And look at this dye job. Oh, it's like a blue lavender with a plummy rust. So gorgeous. And I just thought this was just so beautiful. And this is Montana Corriedale. And I have spun quite a bit of Corriedale. This is the softest Corriedale I think I have ever touched. So really, really like this. She just has amazing dye jobs. Very saturated colors. And I mainly picked this colorway because I was thinking of these bats, which are each 2 ounces. And I've had these in my stash a long time. These are from Cottage Dye Works. And this is a blended bat, so it's got a whole bunch of mixed stuff in it. And the colorway is the Countess. So I had this in mind when I was buying because I thought I could spin them together, which I think I can. So I think this would be absolutely stunning. This is 4 ounces and this is 4 ounces, so I'll get 8 ounces of Handspun out of this. And I will use that those bats that I've had in my stash for forever, which I like, but I didn't want to just have a small amount. So lastly, I made a new friend at Fiber Fest, which that's why you go, right? To make new friends. And I made friends with Karen of Texas Prairie Fiber Co. She sources Texas fibers from farmers and people who own animals, and she has them processed at a mill in Texas, and then she both sells them undyed and she dyes. So she had a large assortment of all different kinds of fibers from animals in Texas, and some of them were dyed and some of them were in their natural colorway. And I picked out this beautiful Caverns of Sonora gradient, and this is a 2-ply DK 100% wool. So this has like a chocolatey brown, beautiful green, minty green color into a more subtle muted green. And this is the skein that spoke to me the most, and I thought if you're going to make a single skein project, this would make a really fun single skein project. And I think she said that she dyed it as a gradient, which will be even more interesting to knit up. And this feels lovely too. My friend that went with me to Fiber Fest bought some of her alpaca blend, which is just so soft and drapey and lovely. And so she has an Etsy shop too, Texas Prairie Fiber Co. And I highly recommend you check her out. So I bought also a beeswax candle from her daughter because her daughter made a whole bunch of candles for Fiber Fest, and my kids love it. It's on our kitchen table. And she had some little pre-made kits. So this is a crochet peach keychain kit, which you know I could not say no to that. And let me show you. So I was hoping to make this before this episode, but I hadn't gotten around to it. but it has the pattern for the little peach, and it comes with her dyed yarn, peach green for the little leaf, and then a little bit of brown for the stem. And then it also comes with the keychain clasp. And I think this came with it too, a little stitch marker, but either that or that fell out of one of my other bags. But so this is going to be just the most adorable little peach keychain. And I can't wait to make it. She had one made there as a sample, and it was so adorable. So thank you very much, Karen, for putting these kits together. And I almost thought I need to buy more of them to give away on my podcast because they're so cute. But I didn't, because I didn't think of it until after I left. But so little crochet peach keychain, and what a great idea. I mean, for people that have booths at Fiber Fest, having little small things that you know exactly what you can make out of it, already ready to go, genius. So love this, love her yarn, and she lives near me, so we are going to be friends, and she already invited me over to dye yarn, so very excited about that. I think that is everything for today. We are doing really well. Our school year is off to a good start, but we have a busy weekend ahead, and it seems like we always have something going on now, which is a good thing. It's delightful. It's good that we're busy and everybody's happy, and I hope you are as well. And please share with me what you're working on. I love to hear about other people's knitting. I love to hear about your projects. Follow me on Instagram, and please like and subscribe if you haven't done that already. Have a beautiful October, and I hope to see you again soon.